Action.
My name is Tony Thomas, and you're watching Hardwired Exotics on YouTube. What's going on YouTube? So, good news and bad news today. What y'all want to start with?
Oh, bad news, always bad news.
Bad news always.
Yep.
Craig says always.
You always get the bad news, so that way the good news is like dessert, and it's something good. Unless you got diabetes, and then you want your good news first.
Anyway, I'll show it to you. It's pretty devastating, but unfortunately in this hobby, it's what happens. So check these out. All right, so this is not good, and unfortunately there's nothing you can really do about it. This clutch is from Blackhead pod to a pod. She laid 5 monster eggs, like the biggest eggs I've had all year, and unfortunately one of them went bad during incubation, which is always a, well, I ain't gonna say always, but sometimes is a telltale sign that there might be other issues. So 4 eggs left. Most of my stuff hatches or pips on 56, 57, and these were on day 60 when I decided to cut. So they're already running real late. But these were some of the eggs that moved during while we were moving.
Moved from rare to here, yeah.
Moving.
Yeah. Moved when we moved.
When we moved, they moved. Anyway, but I've already hatched some since we moved and didn't have an issue, and I actually have some hatching right now that don't appear to have any issues. So I'm not quite sure what happened. I don't think the move had anything to do with this particular clutch going bad or whatever you want to call it. So anyway, day 60, what did I say, 61?
61.
61, I decided to cut, and the first one I cut was dead in the egg, that almost like it had drowned. So that bothered me.
Drowned it did.
Because when I cut the egg and flipped it open, there was no veins attached to the egg. It was just like, looks like the inside of an egg that's already hatched. So I thought it might have drowned it. Poked around in it for a little bit, no movement. Found its head, no movement. Pulled the head out, and it was dead. It was slightly deformed, and it did have an egg tooth, so that didn't bother me. Okay, one's bad. Fingers crossed for the rest of there was also the egg that was touching the bad egg, or the one that went bad, so I figured maybe something was just wrong with those two. So I went ahead and cut the other 3. Movement, everything looked fine. I let them sit in the incubator for another 2 days. So on day 63, I opened them up. There's still a lot of movement, but I noticed that one of the heads was now where I could see it. I looked in, and the head was deformed. So I decided to go ahead and pull it out the egg. It was still alive, and the other 2 eggs, I kind of rolled them around a little bit, found the heads, found that they were also both deformed. So this was yesterday when I done that, and I decided to just leave them in the egg box till Craig got here today and we could show them to you. So this is slightly graphic, so if stuff like this bothers you, don't look, turn it off, pause, fast forward, whatever. But this is dead animals, and we're all extremely disappointed and sad, but this is something that breeders go through. This isn't my first time, it's probably not going to be my last, and if you're breeding, that's just part of it. So anyway, we ended up with and you can see the deformity is very bad in the head. They're all shark jawed as well. We ended up with all blackhead pied, so I've already removed one, like I said, that was dead.
No eyes, nothing.
No eyes. Just not real good. So.
And this is just something that you're gonna have to deal with in the hobby.
Yep.
I'm assuming next week I'm gonna have to deal with the same thing.
Yeah, Craig doesn't have a clutch that's looking real great, but you never know. I've had the same thing happen, and the babies be fine.
It's just one of those. It is what it is. This is part of it.
Yep. They were all 4 of them were blackhead pieds. Just super unfortunate.
Yep.
Really, really cool, beautiful snakes, and somebody's asked about preserving them, so I'm going to freeze them and send them off to be preserved.
So, do a lot of people do that? I hear about people talking about putting them in the freezer.
Yeah, so most people put the animals in the freezer, and I think it's kind of becoming a trend now for people to put them in the jars and stuff like that, preserve them and stuff.
Like their own version.
I don't know anything about that, so no, don't take any information from me. But I know people are readily doing that these days, which is cool. I mean, even though the animals didn't make it, you know, somebody that can preserve it and still enjoy the animal even after death is. Right. I'm okay with it.
That's their thing.
Most I don't say most people, but some people look down on that. But you know, it's not my opinion.
It reminds me of science class when you had the rattlesnakes in the jars and the things like that, or when you went to the beach and you saw the baby sharks in the thing. That's what it reminds me of. But at least there's a way after death they can still be enjoyed.
Exactly. So, all right. So that's the bad news for this week. It really stinks.
Thanks for watching Hardwired Exotics, and make sure you subscribe. Bye!